Sri Muhammad Hamid Ansari, Vice President of India, Prime Minister Sri Narendra Modi, former Prime Minister Sri H.D. Deve Gowda, Srimati Sumitra Mahajan, Speaker Lok Sabha, Sri Arun Jaitley, Finance Minister, India, Union Ministers, Members of Parliament, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. In a few minutes from now, we will witness the launch of Goods and Services Tax, a unified tax system in the country. This historic moment is the culmination of a 14-year-long journey which began in December 2002 when the Calcutta Task Force on Indirect Taxes suggested a comprehensive goods and service tax based on the value-added tax principle. The proposal to introduce the GST was first mooted in the budget speech for the financial year 2006-07. Since the proposal involved restructuring and reform of not only the indirect taxes levied by the centre but also the states, the responsibility of preparing a design and plan of action for the implementation of GST was assigned to the Empowered Committee of State Finance Ministers, which had been formed earlier for the implementation of the value-added tax. The Empowered Committee released the first discussion paper on goods and service tax in November 2009. Friends, ladies and gentlemen, the introduction of GST is a momentous event for the nation. It is also a moment of some satisfaction for me personally, because as Finance Minister, I had introduced the Constitution Amendment Bill on 22nd March 2011. I was closely involved in the design and implementation and the occasion to meet the Empowered Committee of State Finance Ministers formally and informally as many as 16 times. I also met the Chief Ministers of Gujarat, Bihar, Andhra Pradesh and Maharashtra a number of times, and I have a vivid recollection of those meetings and the various matters that were raised, given the magnitude of the task which spans constitutional, legal, economic and administrative spheres. It was not a surprise that there were many contentious issues. Yet, I found both in these meetings and in many interactions with chief ministers, finance ministers, and officers of state that most of them had a constructive approach and an underlying commitment to the introduction of GST. I therefore remained confident that GST was a matter of time and it would eventually be implemented. My confidence stood justified when on the 8th September of 2016, after the bill was passed by both the houses of parliament and more than 50% of state legislatures, I had the privilege of giving assent to the Constitution 101st Amendment Act. Friends, after the amendment of the Constitution, the GST Council has been constituted as per the provisions of Article 279A of the Constitution. The Council, which is responsible for making all recommendations of the Union of States in respect of GST, such as model laws, rates, exemptions, is unique in our Constitution. It is a joint forum of the centre and the states, where neither the centre nor the states can, without the support of the other, take any decision. Though an elaborate voting structure has been built into the decision-making process of the Council in the Constitution, it is remarkable that 18 meetings held so far, all decisions have been taken by consensus in the Council. I congratulate them. There were apprehensions whether the task of fixing rates for thousands of items could be accomplished by the GST Council, given the wide variations across states. The Council has pleasantly surprised every one of us by completing its task on time. Friends, the new era in taxation, which we are about to initiate in a few minutes, is the result of broad consensus arrived at between the center and states. This consensus took not only time but also effort to build. The effort came from persons across the political spectrum who set aside narrow partisan considerations and put the nation's interest first. It is a tribute to the maturity and wisdom of India's democracy. Friends, even for a person like me, who has been intimately involved in matters of taxation and finance, the scope of the change we are undertaking is truly breathtaking. Central excise duty has a long history. During my different tenures as finance ministers, it has always been one of the largest contributors to the central exchequer. Service tax is relatively new, but has grown very rapidly in revenue terms. Except for a few goods outside the purview of goods and services tax, both of these will now disappear along with the additional customs duty, special additional duty of customs, and numerous cesses and surcharges. Central sales tax on interstate will cease for goods falling under the Goods and Services Act. At the state level, the enormity of the change is not less. The major taxes being subsumed are value-added tax, sales tax, entry tax, taxes on advertisement, and luxury tax, along with the state-level entertainment tax and numerous cess and surcharges. Ladies and gentlemen, GST will also make our exports more competitive and also provide a level playing field to domestic industry to compete with imports. Currently, due to cascading, our exports still carry some embedded taxes, making them less competitive. Similarly, the hidden effect of cascading means that the total tax incidence on domestic industry is not transparent. Under GST, the tax incidence will be transparent, enabling full removal of tax burden on exports and full incidence of domestic taxes on imports. Ladies and gentlemen, I am told that GST will be administered through a modern world-class information technology system. I recall that in July 2010, I had set up an empowered group of development of IT systems required for the GST regime under the chairmanship of Sri Nandan Nilekani. Subsequently, in April 2012, a special purpose vehicle, GST network, was approved for creation by the government for GST implementation. This was to ensure that we have no time, and as and when the legislative framework is in position, the technical infrastructure should be ready to take forward GST. I am told that a key feature of the system is that buyers will get credit of tax paid on inputs only when the seller has actually paid taxes to the government. This creates a strong incentive for buyers to deal with the honest and compliant sellers who pay their dues. Friends, GST is a disruptive change, no doubt. It is similar to the introduction of the VAT when there was initial resistance. When a change of the magnitude is undertaken, however positive it may be, there are bound to be some teething troubles and difficulties in the initial stage. We will have to solve these with understanding and speed to ensure that it does not impact the growth momentum of the economy. Success of such major change always depends on their effective implementation in the months to come. Based on the experience of actual implementation, the GST Council and the central and state government should continuously review the design and make improvements in the same constructive spirit as it has been displayed till now. In conclusion, I would like to express my deep appreciation for all those who made tremendous efforts to make this path-breaking legislation. Thank you. Jai Hind.
May I request the Honorable Rashtrapati Ji and the Prime Minister and other dignitaries to come up and press the button and officially launch the GST.
ताता तिरकट दिन ताता तिरकट धा धा तीन ना तिरकट दिन ता तिन तिरकट धा
गरीबों का उद्धार, तेज विकास, जीएसटी से। GST, गुड एंड सिंपल टैक्स।
Right, so India has created a historic moment today. GST is here. Finance Minister, Prime Minister Modi and President Pranab Mukherjee, everyone cited the significant benefits of GST, the fact that GST will spur investment, promote exports and also bridge regional disparities between different states. Finance Minister Arun Jaitley
जीएसटी जो है वो एक तरह से लॉन्च हो गया और गुड एंड सिंपल टैक्स जीएसटी को एक तरह से फिर से परिभाषित करते हुए जीएसटी न्यू इंडिया की एक नई टैक्स व्यवस्था गुड एंड सिंपल टैक्स है, केवल अर्थशास्त्र तक सीमित नहीं है। विकास का अवसर सभी को मिलेगा, ये देश में असंतुलन को खत्म करेगा, निर्यात को बल मिलेगा, विकास की खाई को पूरा करने में मदद मिलेगी।